All right, we're back. Thanks for waiting, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have much more info just yet, as we're still waiting on one of the players to get out of game, so we can ask them what the score is and all that. Hopefully it shouldn't take too much longer, though. Shamalius in chat says, BaseTradeTV, we should get a part 2 at a year sub, right? So let me explain how this works, because there is sometimes some confusion about it. The way it's going to work is 12 months qualifies you to get a part 2 of coin. All right? Here's what this looks like, by the way. Ooh, it's shiny, it's made of metal, and it's not plastic and cheap. It's awesome. However, a lot of it is like we have to actually physically mail it to you. You know, it's not a factory or a company sending it out. It's myself or Zombie Grub, and in more recent days, Zombie Grub. So it takes time. Obviously, with her being in Korea, it's going to be a little bit more time because she's not available to hand those out just yet. Which, I guess, shoot, with the other thing, I'll have to talk to you about that. But if you guys do hit 12 months on the resub, send us a message on the channel requesting a coin. I then feed your name into the bot. If the bot spits out a, hey, they've been subbed for 12 months, then I send you a form to fill out that has your address and all the mailing stuff we would need to send you one of these coins. So some people who are subbed for 32 months still don't even know that. I try and bring this up every time somebody subs in hopes that everyone knows that, but yeah, 12 months qualifies you through.
Yeah. As far as the other thing, it should only just delay it by 1 or 2 days. So.
Looks like KeeN won, I guess.
Yeah, KeeN 2-0 D-Lord to now face ShoWTimE.
Nice. Cool. Then we'll ride this out into the finals for the last spot of the group to be determined through this qualifier. But of course, we still have the grand finals of this tournament to play out for a $200 prize through a coupon code to that site. For the players, it might not mean a lot, but it could be an easy gift they give one of their family members or significant other for the holidays, as I would say about a fourth of the watches on the site you can get for free with a $200 code. The rest, you can just take a huge chunk off the price with $200 at that. Speaking of which, the reminder to check out Wood Watches, guys. Woodwatches.com/base is the link to go to. You can request the code to get 10% off of any purchase of these watches. And as we said, 15% of all sales will be going towards future BaseTradeTV events. You can see that bar getting filled up and all that good stuff. So please, if you're considering a gift this holiday, think about a nice watch for somebody.
Yep, good catch-all.
So tell us more Korean stories. What else have you been up to? Or has it literally just been like make gross food and watch movies with Scarlett?
Well, that's the first time we made food, and then we ended up buying pizza, like we talked about. And then
that's how you always know you made food good, when you had to buy something afterwards.
Well, it actually was pretty good. Like I actually not even. The first reaction was going to jokingly try and spit it out, but I was like, no, this is actually pretty good. It just was 2 hours later. I was like, man, I'm craving pizza, but I'm still kind of full. And she's like, well, this is good pizza anyway, because it's Korea and you can get it at 11 o'clock at night. And it was weird because no regret got the potato pizza, which is just not my thing. It wasn't bad, but just it's not what I want pizza. And then we watched My Sassy Girl. So yes, that has been the plan. So I'm
none
basically...
of them seen it? Actually, so here's the question: how did they react to it? That's the better question. For those who don't know, My Sassy Girl is kind of like a sad movie. It's like a sweet,
yeah, a little bit.
It's like a sweet into
comedy
a sad movie.
and drama, and then yeah, bittersweet. So Scarlett liked it. She didn't super hardcore react to it, but I don't think I've ever seen her super hardcore react to anything. Rapid Casting had already seen it, so he just wanted to watch it with me. We talked about the times, like at what point were we crying when we first saw it. And then No Regret also hadn't seen it. He actually left about halfway through, and we were like, oh, I guess he didn't like the movie. But he told us later that he had to go do something. He didn't want to come back and watch it from behind, so he just watched it in his room, and he finished it. So the funny thing is that, if you guys don't know, if you haven't heard, guys, No Regret has a Korean girlfriend. She usually speaks very good English.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's
Korean.
her boyfriend because he's dating Sulky.
Yeah, exactly. He's dating Sulky. But she does everything that My Sassy, the girl, did. She doesn't have a name if no one's ever seen the movie.
Actually, just thinking, she kind of did behave like that a bit when we saw her.
Yeah, she'll say wanna die, and she'll kind of smack his
punch
arm.
him and
be
stuff.
Sassy, right? And I'm like, well, it makes sense. It came out in 2001. All the women of our generation are gonna be they're young impressionable women. They're like, that chick's so awesome, I'm gonna be exactly like her.
Interesting.
All right. It was fun though, and my goal, I guess, apparently, as many times as we can, is just to get my my list of movies for her to watch cross through. So the next movie we're gonna watch is Akira.
Well, I was gonna mention too, for those who don't know, Zamgrub's got this like vendetta to try and make Scarlett watch like the Disney movies and like all these things that most people have seen, but Scarlett just never has seen for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I have my theory, and I think my theory is the most logical standing one. But
I agree, but she hasn't seen Akira. She has, weirdly enough, seen Fifth Element, so at least I can make jokes about that with her. But
Fifth Element was a great movie. We do have our first map selected. It's gonna be Whirlwind for this semifinals match. Of course, the reminder is that this is a qualifying match, yada, yada, yada. So the winner of this will qualify through to the main event where there is $450 up for prizing. And then, of course, the winner of the qualified series between the two players gets a $200 watch code, which we will be casting here today. So we got two more best of threes, guys. We got this best of three and the next best of three.
can we unmod Dom? Just go ahead and just slash him right off.
Can you give me a good reason?
He just posted in the mod chat a picture of licorice, and he said, "I'm just eating delicious candy."
Wait, I gotta look at this.
Just so gross, man.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh, and it's like spirals too?
Yeah, right? It's like
So
they're trying
it's
to
like-
make it fun and trying to deceive you.
No, but
Good
that means
God.
you get more in your mouth with each bite. Ugh. Like a little stick, you can only get so much in there, but a spiral is like a whole... Dom, you're banned. So
That is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Dumbage.
It's so, for me, it's just a lie. Like, there's a happy kid, and it's like, Haribo or whatever. It's a trusted brand, and it's fucking licorice. Good God. You get so excited when you open something on Christmas and you realize what it is, and you're like, why, Mom? Why? I'm actually getting a little sick thinking about licorice.
Thank you. Thank you. Who's this that just subbed? Sorry, I was in the midst of me banning Dom. Thank you, Xanthra60 for the 17-month resub. Yeah, I can't have admins on our channel who literally eat garbage. We have to set a good example. If we ever want to have an eating stream or social eating stream, we can't be just opening up a garbage bag with an X-Acto
seriously-
knife and then picking out the first thing we see inside.
So, I'm gonna go back on us here. I'm gonna screw us over. Instead of just a regular eating stream of things that we like, we really do have to collect everything we've ever talked about hating on stream and try and eat it.
I think that's really unfair though, because your list is like full of really stupid things that are not that bad. My list is full of things like octopus legs that stick to your throat and squiggle and are alive. Like, ugh.
What is on mine that doesn't make any sense?
I don't know. Probably regular stuff like French fries.
I thought the problem would have been
it is actually. It's regular stuff like French fries.
But I don't like it. I don't actually hate it. Like, if you made me eat licorice, I actually think I might gag. But if you made me
You know what?
I don't have a problem.
You know what? I'll eat an octopus leg if you eat a licorice that's handed to you in a velvet glove. You guys can't see her camera, but she just basically threw up in real life. All right, we're going to get into game. It's map number 1 in the semifinals. A best of 3 to be had thanks to Yord and their Wood Watches. So make sure you go to woodwatches.com/base and check out our sponsors. But kicking it off in the top left side, it's going to be none other than the red Protoss ShoWTimE, who just won the Go for StarCraft Cup earlier this morning.
Saying velvet makes my fingers feel weird, man. Bottom left, the blue Terran, he is KeeN.
So do you have a problem with velour as well?
I don't think I've ever actually touched that, but I probably do.
Thank you, by the way, Marlo Stanfield for the 21 years of BaseTradeTV celebration. Also, I can't remember who it was. I saw someone put in the chat earlier. Josh Rubin. Josh Rubin was the actor from College Humor I was looking for earlier. So whoever that was, I meant to thank you, but I did write it down. And thank you so much, because I have been trying to remember that name for like 3 days. And it's like, it's one of the. It's like when you get a song stuck in your head, right? Except the opposite, because you can't remember what it is.
It's the complete opposite. I would say it's more like when something's on the tip of your tongue.
No.
Oh, okay.
What if there's something on the tip of your tongue's black glue? Liquor.
Oh, now I'm just imagining licking a velvet pill. Oh, God. No.
Zombie Gup's personal hell is like everyone else's like softest bed. I'm just saying.
I would never have survived in like the Renaissance.
You'd caught
days.
between the two sheets. You'd be like, kill me. It'll be easier.
Oh, God. My parents used to have velvet pillows in their room, and I just like... I think they got rid of it maybe because of me, man.
Actually, I think
Their
there's
level
one
of
in the other room. I
loyalty.
should go take a picture of it and just send it to you. All right, we do have a proximity starport. Nope, damn it, Stargates coming down out of ShoWTimE.
Yep.
Now this
Yes,
is
we
versus
do.
this is versus Terran, so things change up quite a bit. And KeeN's actually done a bit of an odd build with his barracks in terms of the timing for both the tech lab and the reactor coming down simultaneously. It means he's not producing anything. His production's a little bit off. We'll see if this hurts him. I think he'll have enough Marines in one base, but maybe not both bases to fend this off.
That is the problem, and he's actually, compensating for that right now. He's not going to bunker up, but again, it's going to leave his natural very, bare. In fact, this Adept's going to be able to just force the SCVs back.
By the way, well, we did see ShoWTimE win Go for StarCraft this morning. It was entirely versus like PvPs and PvZs only. I don't know if he played a single Terran in that whole bracket, so I have no idea what his strategies and plans are other than this proxy gate. Which, by the way, we've been seeing a lot more, I think, how do I say it, like Stargate ideologies coming out, like whether it's 3 Reaper or 3 Oracles, which, okay, we got 2 at least for now for ShoWTimE, or whether it's just proxy for the sake of proxy. This seems to be the direction Protoss are taking it versus Terran.
I agree. We've been seeing a lot of it recently. So, okay, the scan goes down, as KeeN he really doesn't have anything else to really go off of, just the natural and timing of it, but he doesn't have no idea if it's being followed up by a lot of gateways, a robo, tech, and it is a robo, so he should be safe. Won't take too much damage. I don't think, even with 3 oracles, ShoWTimE can take on the Marines that KeeN would have, because now that his tech lab and reactor's done, he does have decent production. But this doesn't mean that, like, in 2 minutes, when KeeN thinks everything's a-okay and moves out to the front, the oracles aren't going to swoop in and just still slaughter 17 SCVs. Even with the missile turret there, they can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they can actually kill a missile turret, which is so stupid. So many things about the Oracle tilt me. Energy-based units in this game tilt me, actually. That's probably the better way to phrase that. Vipers right now, I'm so passionately angry against.
I love that you're like, I don't remember the last time I've heard you so passionately against a unit. Like, me and DTs don't get along, but I don't remember yours, and suddenly Vipers are you're just like,
because I don't, like, I'll talk about this after. The Oracle's coming to pick up a couple SCVs, but they've got to back away pretty quick. If they got to the natural, there would have been Marines, so it's kind of a tough choice with a bit of a gamble, picking where to go. But if you guys have ever seen me stream my ladder games, whether it was on my personal channel or when I was doing BaseTradeTV last season's ladder, I don't mind losing when it's my fault. Like when I've sat there and I've made a mistake and I've lost the game for it, you're like, I could play better, right? So you actually move on, and I don't get heated about stuff like that. But the Viper right now, for the mech, like maybe it's just I shouldn't play the mech style I want to play. Fine, I get it. But it sucks that it's one unit that, and Nate's put this words best, it counters all of its own counters. That's what's so stupid about it. So you can't actually do anything to deal with it. And that frustrates me because that's not my fault. That's when it comes down to game design.
I'm loving this rant, man.
Sorry,
I'm thinking it's...
You just have to
I
understand,
really
like 4 years I don't get angry about StarCraft. This is like the most angry I've been about StarCraft in a long time. Whatever. Okay, anyways, Overcharge is ready to go on the other side of the map. Will that be enough to stop the Marines? They've got Stim. They're about to have +1.
Popped instantly, I think it might be just enough to hold on, because he does have units in production finishing up now.
Oh god,
but only one was popped. Oh shit.
That focus fire was fantastic. The Guardian Shield didn't go down. He meant for an awkward force field instead. He just walks past it though. He's just gonna go straight to the main. There's a Colossus coming up, but it's not gonna be out in time.
That lack of second photon overcharge really did contribute to the 12 pro kills basically. I think if the second overcharge is with the first one, it's 6 pro kills. Maybe not even then. Maybe it's just the army that died.
He gets cleaned up, but man, he took a lot of adepts on the way out too. On top of those pro kills, like, that was a really nice attack out of KeeN. And there was no medevac or finesse. That almost felt desperate. It wasn't, but it almost felt desperate with the way he handled it.
Well, I don't know about desperate, but it was kind of that, like, okay, you're doing this, and I'm just going to try and do something. It's not quite desperate, but not quite what you usually would want either, which is usually waiting for medevacs, which are finally on the way, as well as more barracks. They're both still on 2 bases, so while ShoWTimE has a army supply lead and has very scary Colossus tech on the way, it's not going to be buffered by much.
Oh, missile turret takes out one of the Oracles. Other 2 are going to get away. The Oracles at this point aren't really more about the damage. Maybe they get in kill SCVs, that's cool, but really it's about revelation tagging and just having a permanent scouting on things like the medevacs leaving the base that he just missed. Oh no, ShoWTimE didn't see this.
Whoa, KeeN's getting kind of This is 2Times gotten a little bit lucky. That second Photon Overcharge not being there, and the Oracle's not seeing this. With one Colossus, no, 2 Colossus, the ones just about to come out, that'll definitely be enough. 1 Colossus, the Concave might have been enough to scare it with Pure Marine, but 2 shouldn't be the case. He just gonna unload here, however, and that's not really gonna lead to very much. You get the Observer. Get it. Okay, we're not. We're not. Well, he's gonna walk right over to that third base. A little bit awkward looking.
By the way, Poison Ivy is here. He didn't see all my games I played, but he saw the one game that started it all with the Vipers. It was an hour-and-a-half stall game, and I got so tilted. That was when I was like, you know what? These units are kind of stupid. I don't passionately hate them yet, but I don't really like them. No, dude. 10 more of those games is what's made me just a furious, angry ball of piss and vinegar against Vipers.
I love it. I'm gonna play Zerg every time we face each other now.
Yeah, no, the TVTs aren't working for you. Now it's time to go for the Zerg and just go straight to Viper. You're like 1 base hive, and I'll just see the Vipers and quit. That's how you'll win the show match.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Let's do it.
I'll save us 5 hours of time. Let me just quit right now. Alright, Oracle's still zipping around the map, looking to get another Revelation tag. It's actually a little bit worrisome, though. KeeN's got a lot of Widow Mines, and right now Revelation to scout the army is good, but you're going to need detection. Oracles are not reliable at detection. We've seen this too often. They get picked off too easily. I do like the Colossus count. I think ShoWTimE's moving in the right direction in terms of composition, but I don't know if it's here just yet. The army supply is even, but this is actually a lot scarier for ShoWTimE than it is for KeeN.
Well, the force fields would be crucial, and I think enough to ensure KeeN would never try and pounce on him. That snipe in the Observer was very annoying, as you were just talking about, like needing an Observer, and that was the one in location. He still has 2 more. Grabs one of the Oracles, only 1 more to go, and you won't have to worry about having your Medivac scouted. But KeeN, kind of like forced to play outside of aggression, so he's not, you know, running into the Colossus, but he's not entirely backing off either. Because he, definitely can't go up a ramp. But now there's 3 Colossus, he would need something a lot better than just Bio. Bio with like an extreme concave, maybe.
Just Bio goes a long way when your opponent doesn't have anything to defend, and the main base doesn't have a lot. He's warped in 2 Adepts and a Stalker. The Overcharge isn't going to cut for much when there's this many Marauders, and this is actually kind of scary. ShoWTimE has to deal with this. I'm not sure if KeeN will push in and use the distraction as a pressure point, but right now more Adepts and all the Warp-ins, more importantly, are being used on cooldown for the main.
But the Colossus are enough. You know, they're covered by enough, too, on the other side, which is, like, of course, the most important thing. And there is just, like, 17 Vikings right now that absolutely die.
Ooh. So he's picked up that army and takes it to the main, and I guess if the Colossus are over there...
on the Colossus, there you go.
They're not over here. There's going to be a couple overcharges to go off. It's a lot of damage, but again, there's a lot of Marauders. We'll see if they can focus down the pylons. I think killing the pylons has got to be a bigger deal than the Adepts. He's shooting the wrong targets, cleans them up now, and starts pushing through. There's so many Marauders still standing. The Colossus only just barely get home, but it still is going to be KeeN picking up to run away.
Okay. Yeah, I think he still had to pick up and run away, but it was a little bit worrying because ShoWTimE still only... you know, brought some of his army back. I was a little afraid the Colossus would have been stimmed on. You know, but he does hold on both sides.
We got Vikings being made, and I don't think Vikings are a bad thing. I love the new Viking. I love the new role it has. But I think 7 to 10 might be more than enough. You're really going to want those Liberators. They can deal with the Colossus, they can deal with those Stalkers, and I think Liberators are always what makes a Terran player king when it comes to the late game engagements, not Vikings.
Yeah, I would say, like, I actually have no idea. I would say need more data, basically, because I think that Vikings and their micro capability, the way they can like float around the Colossus, can still be what like starts the fight off so well. Whereas Liberators can have, you know, the opposite. They have to literally siege up. But Liberators are usually what's scaring the Protoss and making them make bad decisions because they have to find a way around or just bust through what could be 4 to 8 Liberator circles. I don't know. That's KeeN knows. He's decided to go for a very old school composition, so no Liberators, at least not yet. Maybe like 1 or 2 as the game continues, but I'm talking more about the Vikings and then the Ghost Academy pretty quick.
Meanwhile, it looks like there was an Adept Tromp in the main, or sorry, the natural. So it's going to get a couple of kills. The Vikings are going to land to help deal with this. Sadly, their bonus damage only kicks in versus mechanical, so it doesn't actually help that much versus the Adepts, but still, what is that, like 12 damage a shot? That's not too shabby. The +8 versus mechanical is certainly scary.
Well, DTs, I would say, are scary. Complete bias here. Just talking about 8, right?
Oh, that's right. ShoWTimE was the guy who went for Blink, but never used it. We might actually get to see Blink, maybe.
Here. I don't know. I think he maybe realized, like, well, I got it and I didn't even feel like there's no necessity to use it. Because the problem, and why DTs really aren't as much of a problem as they used to be, is that, especially in the late game, you're just kind of like one and done. Like, you either got it or you don't.
Well,
surprise or not.
There's some cool micro I've been seeing on streams where people are just specifically blinking out of scan range and stuff. Like, I think there's a lot of cool
that's absolutely
tools, like,
what you would need it for. But I think in the late game, when DTs are finally being made and you can actually afford the blink upgrade, I think that's pro Protosses are still gonna take a long time to actually purposefully micro 2 DTs when there's 5 bases to cover and 2 other, adepts harassing somewhere else.
So, even though there's no reason for it too, because it's the correct way to say it, pro Protoss triggers my ATM machine frustrations. Like,
but it's not the same.
I know it's not the same. That's why I don't understand why my brain's like firing off cylinders. Okay, we do have those ghosts coming up. He should have the EMPs for the fight. The problem is, so much of his army is scattered, and not a lot of it's consolidated. And hell, there might even just be too many through Vikings. How many Vikings is that actually? That's 13 Vikings.
I don't mind that count, to be honest, with support Colossus.
Yeah, I think it'll be appropriate, but the question is really going to be like, will they hang around in the air after? If they kill those Colossus and then land immediately, they'll actually deal a lot of damage. But they end up soaking a lot of hits from the Stalkers, and they pick off quite a few of them.
Yeah. I was going to say, my question is actually, how much can they do before the fight really takes hold? Because the thing about Colossus has always been, as long as they get the shots, they might still be totally worth it, even if they do end up dying. And they're not even dying.
This goes really badly for KeeN. The Liberator got picked off immediately. There's been no use out of the Vikings. 13 die for 1 Colossus. Not worth.
Fair. Perfect. There's the drop going to kill the 4th base, but ShoWTimE's army is looking almost unbeatable. Like, the army supply is not unbeatable. Like, 40
He's
army
doing
supply,
Warp Prism Micro.
He's
doing Warp Prism Micro with the Colossus. Oh, it's so sick.
But it is ShoWTimE's positioning, and now he's going to get on top of that production. Yeah,
this is a little too far gone at this point. KeeN did pick off a base while this goes on, but DTs, I think, are going to lock this game down. Even if he scans to see him, like, he's going to eventually not be able to scan. Disruptor's looking for the hit, picks off most of the Marauders. 2 remain. Overcharge is good. GG! ShoWTimE takes a very good-looking game number 1.
Yeah, good solid defense, good solid attack.
Yeah. That was a considerably long game number 1, though, so we are going to pop off to a small break, though, guys. Consider checking out our sponsors in the meantime. woodwatches.com/base. We'll see you soon. All right. Thank you, guys, once again, for giving us that small little bit of a break as we get into game number 2. It's going down on Echo. And ShoWTimE is so good, says chat. Hell yeah, I agree. It's a pretty fantastic German.
Good enough to beat Bjorn.
Actually, this would be really interesting to me, because if this does go to the grand finals, like, let's assume, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, right? But let's assume ShoWTimE wins for a moment. He goes on to fight against a Laser. Again, a Laser was not somebody we got to see in the go for StarCraft semifinals or finals. So, ShoWTimE's already beat a bunch of Zerg today. Can he beat another?
Maybe. KeeN did not look absolutely terrible that last game, though, so I think you could take it back and do a 2-1. He did not look great in the late game. I mean, that positioning was quite poor, but I liked his maneuvers in the mid game.
Well, here we are on Echo. In the top left side, it's going to be the away team player, the blue KeeN, hailing from Korea.
In the bottom right is the red Protoss. He is ShoWTimE.
So I know you are not narcissistic enough to comb through comments for comments about you. And while it's arguable as to whether I am that narcissistic or not, I do unfortunately get every email notification that's like, so-and-so's left a comment on your YouTube video of blank versus blank, right? Most of the time I just don't read the messages because they come in and there's actually a lot of them, right? I used to comb through every single one and read literally every comment on every video we ever made. But there's been this one very interesting one lately, and I'm really curious what the direction of this is for. Where somebody, it was from the recent cast you did solo, one of the Lee fan groups, and someone had commented that they thought you were particularly boring in said cast. But then you had, of course, a lot of people come to your defense, saying, no, Zomgrub's actually really informative, and I'm really glad, like, I learned from this cast thanks to her type thing, right? Which then seemed to trigger more hate. And it was weird because normally it's like step 1, step 2, and there is no step 3 to this cycle. But this is actually on step 5 right now, and I've had to actually start deleting comments because they're getting so just non-relevant / toxic. But at the
Okay.
same time, part of me's kind of happy all the comments that we have YouTube comments. So I don't know. I'm like jaded. I don't know. I just thought it was so
Yeah.
funny because it's like one solo cast from Zombie Grub. Like we go through literally hundreds of videos with no negative, like no at least overly negative or overly stupid comments. One solo cast from Zombie Grub though, it's like nuclear war just happened.
Yeah, I guess so. There's not much I can say about that.
Yeah, sorry, I want to make this clear. It's not digs at you or shots at you. It was interesting that happened to be the topic. Because I obviously, I like casting with you. I know for a fact people like listening to you. So it's just so strange that someone would leave a negative comment in the first place. But then followed up with the defense forcing more negative comments. Like, okay, guys, people voiced their opinion. They said that they like Zombie Grub. Just the same way you said you disliked Zombie Grub. Why you got to take it to that next step? I'll never understand that.
Well, as much as I love talking about who likes me and who doesn't like me.
Sorry, it's just frustrating. I had to delete a particularly disgusting commentary in the ad break, so it's just recent in frustration.
Okay. The game has been kind of chosen. No proxy Stargate, just the typical like robe opener. Kind of cool positioning on the gateway subnet core because that was what you used to do on Echo to deny the Reaper Scout. Clever stuff.
Echo was, for a long time, kind of a really bad map. And that was not because the map itself was so bad, I guess. I should phrase that differently. But, you know, like, players not knowing to take down rock towers and stuff was so weird. And so strange to me that you would have pros, guys who play this game for endless hours of the day, not know how to use a map properly. And Echo, I think, was the first time we really noticed that, right? Because people were consistently not taking the free wall off.
Yes, that was like the obvious glaring, like, okay, they should be doing this. There's no question what's going on. Whereas, like, every other time, you might have had some arguments for and against it.
What was that other map? I can't remember. It was like a spiral, but you could knock down rock towers in the middle, and either it was a fast path or you had to go all the way around the map.
With one of the Pro League maps?
No,
Or was it a ladder?
there's a ladder map. Terra something? Terra
Oh,
Centra?
Terraform.
Or Terraform, there you go.
Terraform. Yeah,
Yeah.
our famous carrier battle.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But that was another one of those maps where it was so important to knock down towers, but most people just chose not to. And I wonder, like, had that become a more common thing, and had that be something players relied on more, how that would have influenced the evolution of maps, like, even to today.
Yeah. Well, Terraform is one of those ones that I was thinking, yeah, there's a lot of cases where I would say absolutely you should have broken on the rocks, but there's also some cases where it was not the absolute best maneuver, where Echo, I think it's always the best maneuver.
That's true. Well, one of mine's first one gets picked off pretty quick. There's an observer there. You should know that. Yeah, he just lost the first one, so he picks up and backs away.
Oh well. I mean, ineffective Widow Mine drops happen all the time as long as they aren't fully committed with like 2 drops and none of them do any damage and lose was the medevac. Doesn't really matter. I suppose that he doesn't lose, you know, Widow Mine literally need to get a probe. Just goes back home with it. KeeN is getting just the a very typical follow-up to the Widow Mine drop 2. Tank. Only one though, so you're not a tank push, but bio upgrades on the way. And ShoWTimE is once again going for the fast Colossus. Didn't really talk about his game plan specifically last game. We just say it was like he's getting Colossus and this is what he has to do. But just like in general, there seems to be a split between Protosses who still love going mass gateway armies, kind of like pre-patch, and Protosses that love going for the faster Colossus, which was happening pre-patch, so it's not entirely accurate. But the point is, it's like only happening the last week or 2 weeks pre-patch. So in my mind, especially if like 6 months later or it's on the same patch, it'll be like pre-patch and post-patch Colossus versus mass gateway Protoss. But ShoWTimE obviously likes the Colossus.
Well, Colossus worked out really well last game. I mean, look how bad the Vikings went. Like 13 Vikings, 4 Colossus. I don't know, at least half should go down? No.
It was really bad positioning. I mean, that's just going to be... that's just going to be KeeN. Not necessarily scouting better, but yeah, a little bit. Because the problem he still had a position was that he was reacting to a couple of different harassment points. So he should have been in position, but I guess that would just come down to scouting, like making sure that you split the defensive, anti-harassment units more just correctly. Like ShoWTimE did. Kind of. as I was talking about when the game started, KeeN did have a fairly good mid-game plan. Like, he almost had a couple of really good drops that was like, okay, I could see like that kind of like pushing over and even killing a Nexus, and just didn't quite get there. But that is because ShoWTimE would eventually split his army correctly and not just entirely A-move one army to one base to another.
Oh boy, I really hope they don't go through the proposed Colossus changes. I just realized how much that's gonna, like, I know they're doing it for the sake of Hydras, but they're gonna make this matchup even more disgusting. As if Marines didn't die fast enough, right? Like,
well, no one likes Colossus as a unit. I think maybe when they first were announced,
even Protoss
like,
players don't like Colossus as a unit.
Yeah, but then once they realized what it meant for the game, they're like, oh, it's not cool. Oh, I don't like this at all.
Yeah. Well, looking to continue poking forward, the army out of ShoWTimE is not that impressive, to be honest. In fact, I really like seeing a tank out of KeeN. At least keep the Stalkers back and easy from coming in. The Colossus, I really don't know. This is like, they're good units, they're strong units, but it's still like the tank. Oh, well, this might work if he catches all the Marauders with those force fields, so forget my woes and laments. Still, though, 2 tanks and a Liberator, 2 tanks and 2 Liberators is a really good setup to keep ShoWTimE from pushing in.
Yeah. Echo does have this, like, it's a problem, but it's, you know, it's not because the map is bad. This is just one of the problems of Echo, where you have this, like, central position which looks great for defense, but then you realize, especially in some of the earlier parts of specific matchups, you attack to the left, they have to move to the left. You attack on the right, they have to like, move way right.
Yeah.
At any point they overcommit to one of these base defense, you just go to the other base, basically. And it's actually quite complicated. So these siege units, if they have to get out of position, ShoWTimE might be able to abuse it. I don't think you really can, though, with Colossus-based army, just because they're slow. You know, if these were adepts, if there's like 50 adepts right now trying to shade in and trying to get them to move position, that's a different question. But KeeN doesn't have to move position now. He now has enough Liberators to cover both ramps, and yeah, it's not going to be pushed through. In fact, he's starting Liberators so early this game, I wonder if ShoWTimE's going to respond faster to Stargate, because I don't think even, well, I guess he went for proxy Stargate last game, but he never tried to get up to Tempest last game.
By the way, 20-ish minutes ago, we had Nuznard reset for 10 months. I'm sorry, man, that must have been during a break and we missed it. It says, count me in for one more 8-man single elimination bracket for the finals. Hey, man, that'd be cool if we get the vote there, but it's going to be the end of this cast, the end of this qualifier is when we're going to cut off and see what Team Liquid, the vote poll says. So if you guys want to vote on what the format of the finals is, you still got time. Just pop into the Team Liquid thread. If you don't know where the Team Liquid thread is, ask one of our mods. I'm sure they'd be happy to link it for you. Well, that's a dead Marine.
Certainly is. Well, ShoWTimE, I feel like this always happens regardless of how the Terran is playing. Like, even if the Terran is playing more to Vikings, or like even like huge amounts of bio, or if it is Liberators, which it is now for KeeN, it seems that when Protoss gets to Colossus, they kind of have this nice little they have staying power. They can kind of be the controllers of the map for a little bit. Now, it's still dangerous because they have to respond to potential drops back at home as KeeN does try it, but it's not a very big drop, and ShoWTimE just defends with his rally.
I don't love giving the factory away like that. I get that you're not making tanks, so you don't need to build more starports, but Winnow mines are actually pretty good. I think not being able to produce them sucks. Tanks, of course, already come built in. 13 range. Liberator range being researched as we speak. Big unload down here to the south. Drops just kind of all around, but this will catch one of the bases out of position. This would actually be really nice if he snipes the Nexus.
And this is where ShoWTimE, being on the front lines like he was with half of his army, was going to eventually bite him in the butt. I think he was just hoping he would be able to catch such a big drop and be able to respond to it, which he technically does. He gets a lot of the Marauders that won't be able to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, KeeN had to do that because if he didn't fight at all, the Stalkers would have just blinked on the medevacs and gotten free kills, but I guess keeping some alive is better than keeping none alive. This does give him the time to position, though. That drew him out of position, so he advances forward. The problem is the Liberators don't quite cover everything the way I think he wanted them to. Tanks get some fantastic shots to start off the fight, but the right side is left bridged, and this is what you were talking about earlier. Like, if you attack right, you really got to go right.
Yeah, same problem with the fourth base. But it's really weird is that ShoWTimE is the one that's making KeeN choose. Like, KeeN is the defensive, trying to get to like the super ultimate composition, and the Protoss is the one that's trying to poke him out of position. Like, that's just supposed to be the opposite. So it looks very weird seeing ShoWTimE with just like 4 Colossus and really anything covering them to the left.
Yeah.
Because if KeeN ever did like unsiege and pounce on top of that, the Colossus might just die. Or if he had Vikings again, they would probably just be sacked on.
All the SCVs get pulled away from these couple of Adepts that drop in. Another warp in towards the main. Oh, this is DTs though. Ooh, scan goes down so he sees them, but can he clean them up fast enough? The Liberators were not sieged in time. That's a little bit awkward. Looks like these Adepts did get cleaned up. The main army's still pressuring out here. KeeN's not going to get that 4th base like he wanted to, and he's starting to fall behind, and it's starting to really show in those supply. While this goes on, though, Fleet Beacon, Stargates, we have that next tech on the way. And as much as I would love to see Carriers versus Terran, Tempests are just as good. Oh, 4 Liberators! Oh, no! 4 Liberators, poor Liberators. Rip, 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 rip.
That is pretty bad. But KeeN, you know, he tried to go for like quicker Liberators. He got at a very defensive siege up, nice on 3 bases, trying to get to the 4th one. Never really got to use it. Like, I understand getting to that great endgame army with Ghosts included, but ShoWTimE just kept controlling him, kept poking at him, and had no problem responding to the late game army. There's no point in which KeeN was able to actually push out with Liberators, a Liberator count that was ahead of where ShoWTimE was in this game. Which I thought was going to happen, basically. I thought KeeN was actually going to be able to push out with 8 Liberators and be like, well, what do you got? You don't have Tempest because you stuck too long on Colossus. That's just not happening. ShoWTimE's going to have Tempest now. He's going to be able to poke everything now with that range. He's just control over this game, despite KeeN's best efforts to get some drops in.
Well, big fight just waiting to happen. We do have Storms ready, and Templar with a lot of energy in the middle of the map. But Ghosts are out too, so this is endgame versus endgame. Snipes have got to go off, EMPs have got to land. Tank's getting some really nice free shots to start this off. What do you think? Who's got the better composition, do you feel?
ShoWTimE, though, he has Tempest and Disruptors too. Disruptors being maybe even key.
Oh, he almost got an amazing EMP with that Ghost. So close to hitting every single unit in that army.
This is not all of ShoWTimE's army. He has a large gateway force to the left.
ShoWTimE senpai, show us the new Tempest ability, please. I beg you. I want to see that AoE stun one time. One time.
I think it'd be pretty good. I mean, especially if he's planning on counterattacking, just throw him down around your bases. Halt what could be a base trade.
Well, not quite going to happen like that. Liberator's going to eventually clean up the Adepts. They're not really doing that much. The main army's still the key to this. The Tempests really have been picked off by these Vikings, though.
He was getting a little... I mean, this time it was him. He was out of position this time. Like, his Colossus are kind of going every which way, up and down cliffs. The Vikings are absolutely taking advantage of it, and against the Tempest, too. So, still a 4 Colossus is not a bad count whatsoever, and the trades continue. But who's getting the better deal?
Probes come across the map to get pulled away from this Nexus. Might help him out in a base trade. I don't know. Currently, the way it stands, the armies are so big. Normally, when this happens, somebody gets whittled down. Like, you either lose too much of your anti-air, or you lose too many of your medevacs. But both players are still standing in a pretty fantastic army. I want to think that 7 Liberators in defending at home is going to turtle up for KeeN just fine. But ShoWTimE's not committing to the main. He's actually turning around to possibly come home and defend. And he's not lost that many workers. Like, he's still, like, both players can still do mining behind this.
There's a couple more workers go down. The fact that ShoWTimE has upgrades, even one upgrade for his Tempest as well as Storms, where those Ghosts, that might be the real kicker for ShoWTimE winning this game.
I wish so badly those Tempests would use an AoE stun. I've only seen Golden use it. I've literally never seen it. Golden was playing Zerg and he used Tempest stun. Okay, that's the only person I've seen use a Tempest stun.
Okay. Well, the Ghosts, there's 2 of them on the front lines. There they are now, but there's also 2 of them that are stuck in the main base. They're kind of important. Those High Templars have quite a lot of energy.
Yeah, there's 4 of them there too, but the EMP lands pretty well, but doesn't hit the Templar. Storms at this point too, better for the air than they are for the ground. The Colossus will take care of that ground AoE. Marines, Marauders, that's what the Colossus beams are here for. The Liberators and the Vikings and hell, the Medevacs even, like, I don't know if he wants to go with feedbacks, but that's where these Templar are really going to shine.
This is very scary. I see that air army, Medevacs, Liberators, Vikings clump up, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that is the Storm. That's going to wreck KeeN's day. And as you retreat to do that, that might just be the Storms? Nope, no Storms go down.
He tried to hit the Ghost with the Disruptor. That's not a bad priority, but unfortunately, because he didn't, Those EMPs going off. Storm's hitting some of the Vikings down that left
There you
side.
go.
Looks so sexy, but the Colossus and the Adepts are winning the ground fight. If the Liberties are all focused down, the Vikings can still land. But I think the Adepts and the Stalkers are too much.
And those upgrades. 3-3-1. You even have a shield upgrade. And Disruptor, too. Vikings can try their best.
Archons, I think, are going to do fantastic. Yeah. Well, the Disruptor, too, would get picked off by them as well, I'd imagine. But unfortunately, despite that EMP, there's nothing to really shoot the Stalkers. They're all out of position, and you can't heal Vikings. You have to repair them. Oh, pick him up in the medevac? Okay.
This is going to be it, though, for KeeN. He's mining off of one base, but so is ShoWTimE again. 1.5. His third base hasn't been mined out yet. And I do think he had a better army, provided that, there wasn't amazing EMPs or amazing Viking positioning, which KeeN just could not get. Down 40 army supply.
He's
Vikings
on his
are
last
taking
legs.
Tempest. There you go.
He's like super on his last legs.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the 2-0 for KeeN, for Terran.
That's really impressive for ShoWTimE too, though, because we knew his versus Zerg was going to be great. We had results of it earlier today at another tournament, but versus Terran was really up in the air.
Obviously, it's pretty good. Scan goes down on ShoWTimE's 4th base. That's usually the, okay, I'm going to tap out if I see a base scan, but he waits even longer to tap out. It's definitely good.
Yeah. Well, with the eventual tap out coming, he's got a planetary. Might be banking on that. I know, at least for me. Okay, GG's get called. For me, when I'm losing, it's not about like, oh, the planetary might save me, but it's like, come here, you got to work for this. I've put time into this building. You're still probably gonna win, but I'm gonna make you work to kill me.
That's what planetaries are for.
But this makes me so happy. Okay, I don't know what the Team Liquid poll is gonna vote for, right? I'm assuming it's gonna be like the group stage. I'm hoping it's gonna be the group stage, and if it is, then we have a sick group. Snoot, Euthermal, a laser, and ShoWTimE? Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
Nice.
But we do have, so that I will clarify here. ShoWTimE's the last player to qualify through with a laser. So we have 4 players qualified through: Snoot, a laser, Euthermal, and now ShoWTimE. The question at hand, though, is what's the format of the main event going to be? Now, that aside for a moment, we still have one more best of 3 to play. This between 2 already qualified players, but this is worth $200 on the Yord Woodwatch site. So they're playing for a pretty awesome code. Votes look like to be 94 in the favor of the WCS style group over the 82 for the 8-man single elimination bracket. I'm actually pretty stoked and hoping it's going to be that. But we just had a donation. Who was that? $2 coming from Fat. Oh, Fat Riff. Okay, you know what? This will take some. First off, thanks for the $2. You're an asshole, but thanks for the $2. If you charge that back, well, go kill yourself. Why you gotta shit on Zombie Grub like that? You need her. Okay, let me explain this. Let me explain this as clearly as I can. I was frustrated inventing and perhaps shouldn't have done that on stream. However, I get really tilted about when people say I only work with Zombie Grub because she's a girl. And you know, there's a million reasons why that could be a sexist statement or whatever, and I should care on Zombie Grub's behalf, and I do. Don't get me wrong. But what pisses me off is that to me, I take that as like you need a girl to be relevant. You need Zombie Grub because she's a girl, because that's the only way anyone will tune in, right? I need Zombie Girl for a lot of different reasons, but I don't need her to get fucking viewers, okay? We get viewers whether I'm solo casting, whether she's solo casting. That's what really pisses me off. So thank you for the troll comment. Thank you for the $2 that you're probably going to charge back. Go kill yourself. I mean that seriously. But whatever. Anyways, we're going to commercial break while I take a breather. When we're back, it's a best of 3. PvZ. We'll see you guys soon.